Leanne. Alright, my name's Blake, and I'll be your counselor. So we went over, you signed the consent form when you came in. I just want to go over confidentiality, everything that's said here stays here, unless of course you want to harm yourself or others. Alright, so I have down here, you're 23. Are you still residing at 123 Delta Road?
Yeah.
Okay. And what's your current living situation like?
So I live with my boyfriend.
Okay. And how long have you been living with him?
Going on 2 years.
Alright. And so I guess are you renting? Are you
We own
him? Okay, cool.
It's his house, but I
Okay.
just live there.
I've been residing 2 years. Any children?
No.
No? You guys have any pets or anything in the house too?
Oh yeah, we have 2 dogs, a cat, a snake. I love
Okay.
animals.
I'm just gonna be taking notes, that way I can refer back to them, okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
You have a snake, you said?
Yeah, I do.
Wow. 2 dogs and a snake. Alright, so I just wanna ask you, what is the reason that brought you into counseling today? Like, why did you decide to come in?
I have a past history of having really bad anxiety with panic attacks that I used to be medicated for. I stopped being on medication because of how it made me feel. And I feel like I've gotten a lot better with my anxiety. But I feel like my OCD is getting worse the better I get with my anxiety, if that makes sense.
Okay, your OCD is getting worse
Yes.
as you get better with your anxiety.
Yes, I know it doesn't like go hand in hand, but like until I can really explain it,
Okay.
it's just like little things. But I will say one of my problems is you're probably like my 4th therapist.
Yeah.
I have a tendency to open up too much and then I get scared and then I kind of just ghost my therapist.
Don't you get sick of repeating yourself over and over again?
Yeah, but yeah, but I wait. Like I haven't seen a therapist in like a year and a half since then, until it gets bad again, where I'm like, I have no choice but to see somebody again.
See, that's why I see a therapist myself, and I think I stay consistent with it.
It's just hard to like. I'm even like this with friends. It's like hard to maintain relationships. It's scary for me.
Yeah, absolutely. I can definitely understand that. Alright, let's see here. We'll circle back to that in a little bit, but I'm gonna get you your place of birth.
Seaford.
Seaford. So what was your home life like as a child?
It was great.
Great childhood.
Both parents lived in the house. I had a great marriage. Love my parents. They're the closest thing I have. My older sister, we're also really close. We weren't close when we were younger. We fought and we didn't like each other.
Yeah,
but like that's normal.
Siblings,
Now we're best friends. But no, I had a great childhood.
Alright. How close in age are you guys?
We're 14 months apart.
Oh wow,
Yeah.
very close. Cool. Alright, so do you have any disabilities or anything like that? No. Medical history, are you currently taking any medications?
Yes, I take Xolair, but it's for chronic hives because I have an autoimmune deficiency.
solar for hives, okay. Is that it?
Yep.
Alright. Do you have any allergies to anything?
Not that I'm aware of, besides the sun.
Really?
Yeah, that's what causes the hives, but that's about it.
Okay. Any current medical problems besides the hives?
Nope.
Okay. Let's see here. Does your family have any history of medical problems?
Yes, my mom has 3 different autoimmune diseases. And dad has high blood pressure and anxiety.
Okay. Have you ever been hospitalized?
Not for anything besides like getting my tonsils out, so
Okay.
nothing. And I had one panic attack and I was taken to the ER, but that was it.
Okay. And what did they do for that?
Just gave me fluids and told me it was a panic attack and see a
Sent you on
therapist.
your way?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So your highest grade, we're gonna go into some education and your work history. Your highest grade of school that you completed, level of education.
So I graduated high school. I have a marketing degree and I'm currently getting a human services degree as well.
And then, so you have your high school diploma. Do you have any technical training certificates?
No.
No, okay. Alright, let's see, what's your current employment status, where are you working right now?
So I'm currently not employed.
Okay,
I left my job like a year ago, so I'm just a full-time college student.
okay. For the last 3 jobs you held beforehand, like what kind of work were you doing?
My most previous job, I was a marketing manager at a
Okay,
manufacturing company.
cool.
So
What were you doing there?
basically handling accounts for different manufacturers, steel manufacturers, and building
Okay,
like enclosures and stuff. It was a very male-dominated field, which is
Yeah.
part of the reason I left.
okay, and what was that business called?
Gamlet.
Hamlet.
It's a very small company, and it's in Pennsylvania.
Okay. Alright, let's see here. Now, if you have any questions along the way, feel free to. Alright, estimated current annual income, you said you're not working right now.
Yeah, so like $0.
$0, okay. Your sexual orientation?
Straight.
Straight. So your current relationship status is good.
Mm-hmm.
You live with your boyfriend. And are you satisfied with your current relationship? Everything's going good?
Yes.
Yeah.
Besides, my OCD kind of puts a strain on our relationship a little bit.
Okay, you want to tell me a little bit more about that?
I'm very obsessive over things for a very short amount of time.
Okay.
And I feel like it puts like a wedge between my boyfriend and I, or I have bad cleaning rage, and I feel like that's how I get my anger out, and I will clean and clean and clean, and if there's one speck of dust or something, I blame him. And I get really anxious, and I just flip out. I just have like these like break meltdowns for no reason. I like have no control of my emotions.
Okay.
And I always think something's going to happen. I constantly worry about the worst possible thing that could happen. So it's like when he leaves the house and I ask him to lock the door or something like that, and he tells me he locked it, I don't believe him. And it'll start an argument because I don't believe him and I have to physically go check because it bothers me.
Right.
So it's like stuff like that, or I'm constantly checking my cameras on my phone because I think my house is on fire and my dogs are inside.
Right.
It's like
Now,
that.
some of those things I don't think are bad things, but it's to the extent.
Yeah,
right?
like
So-
it's over the top
Right.
to the point where it causes me to get mad, and I blame it on him.
Okay, you put it all in.
Yeah, because he's like the only person in there, you know?
Right.
So,
Alright, so we'll get more into that in our next session and try to help you work through those feelings and deal with that. I guess you would spend most of your time with your boyfriend, I would say.
my boyfriend and my parents.
Parents?
Hmm.
Your parents live close to you?
No, they live 2.5 hours away, but my boyfriend travels a lot for work, so I'm by myself a lot too. So I always go stay with my parents when I'm by myself.
Okay. What's your boyfriend do for work?
He's a lineman.
Lineman?
Hmm.
Ever engaged in unprotected sex? Have you ever shared any needles?
No.
Do you have any history of domestic violence? Were you ever a victim or witnessed anything?
No.
No? Okay. So no, emotional abuse?
Emotional abuse, yes.
Yes, emotional abuse. Physical abuse?
I wouldn't call it abuse. I don't know.
What would you call
A reaction, a bad reaction once or twice, and then you move on from it.
it? Okay.
Like, I don't know, I'm weird about what I would label domestic violence,
Right.
but for the most part, no.
Okay. So there's been times where it's been physical but not
To the
to
extreme.
the extreme.
Yeah,
where
where,
it's like
yeah,
crazy domestic
yeah.
violence. Any sexual abuse?
No.
Okay. Alright. And I want to go into some religion. Do you have a higher power?
Yes, I'm Christian.
Christian? Okay. How long have you been Christian for?
My entire life.
Okay. Do you attend any spiritual practices like church?
I used to until I moved, and now I have really bad anxiety about going to church by myself.
Yeah.
So I haven't been able to force myself to go by myself yet. My boyfriend, he's not very religious, so it's just me.
Okay.
So I'm kind of scared.
Now, what about where do your parents live? 'Cause
They
that's like 2 hours
they
away.
moved to Pennsylvania.
Okay, so they're in PA as well.
Yeah, so I stay in PA sometimes, but I still live in Delaware. It's my permanent
okay.
address. Yeah,
I see.
me and my boyfriend, we live in Delaware.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then sometimes you'll go and stay at your parents.
Yes.
Gotcha. Okay. And is there any reasons why you do that, like just to get it out of the house, or
For
like you said you'll go and stay at your parents' house for some time? Is it-
it depends. My parents are like my only friends, so it's not like I have anyone else really.
Right.
It's just my parents and my sister. So
okay.
if I'm not doing anything, you know, I'll
You'll
go
just
visit
go hang
them.
out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sometimes I don't like being alone. So
Understandable. Do you meditate or pray?
I pray.
Okay. What are your hobbies and leisure activities like, do you have any?
Yeah, I like to crochet and read.
Oh, yeah?
I'm like an old
Pretty
lady.
cool. I've always wanted to learn how to crochet.
It's really hard.
Is it? I could see it being hard.
Yeah.
Okay, so those are good outlets to get your mind off of things, I would think.
Yeah.
Have you ever been diagnosed with any mental health issues?
Anxiety.
Anxiety? But you never been on any medication for it?
I have.
Oh, you have?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was prescribed Xanax when I was 16, and I was on it till I was like 20.
Okay. Alright. So, do you have a family doctor right now?
No.
No PCP? Okay. So I'm gonna ask some personal questions, like, and if you don't feel comfortable asking or answering them, that's okay. But your current emotional status currently, are you suicidal or homicidal?
No.
No, okay. And what is your current emotional status? How do you feel right now?
Just anxious.
Anxious? Okay. You don't have any history of substance abuse that you mentioned? No. Okay. Let's just go down. I'm gonna read off some substances and like alcohol per se.
I don't really drink.
You don't really drink. Okay. All right. So I'm not even gonna go into the other ones then.
I've tried a few things, but it's never had a problem.
Which drugs have you tried?
Well, like I used to smoke weed every day for a couple of years, but that was about like 4 years ago.
Okay.
So I don't do that anymore. I've tried acid a couple of times, shrooms a couple of times, but I got out of all of that.
Right.
So I wouldn't call it a problem, but
Right, you're just experimenting.
he experimented, yeah.
Yeah.
And then the Xanax, it was prescribed to me, so I wouldn't call that substance abuse.
Mhm. Did you abuse it then?
No.
Sometimes.
I felt like
You needed it?
yeah,
Okay.
like I got attached to it.
Right.
Which
it's
is why
addictive.
Yes.
Right.
Which is why I got away from it.
But I was just gonna mention, you made the decision to get off of it, you're not on it anymore. So now we're just trying to deal with your anxiety, basically cold turkey.
Yeah, no medication. I don't believe in that stuff
Okay.
anymore.
So we have to find you some healthy outlets.
Yes.
Alright. We'll dig into that next session as well. Have you ever experienced any of these consequences? Any legal problems?
No.
Job problems?
Yes.
And tell me about that.
Well, like with my anxiety, like with my panic attacks and stuff, I would smoke weed on the clock when I was like younger and stuff, then I'll get in trouble for that. But it's just I had panic attacks throughout the day sometimes, so it would affect my job or me trying to be perfect, a perfectionist. It would affect my job too because I would go crazy on one task and then forget about everything else that I had to do.
Okay.
So.
Alright, have you ever had any blackouts or hangovers?
No.
No. Okay. lost control over their substances that you mentioned?
No.
No. Okay. Hallucinogens, hallucinations, like those 2 times that you used.
From shrooms.
Yeah, okay. So never any withdrawal, I'm assuming.
No, yeah.
No. Okay. Do you have any suicidal thoughts or ever have any suicidal thoughts?
I've had them
Okay.
before.
In the past you have?
Mm-hmm.
And have you ever acted on those?
No.
No. Were you able to talk about that to anybody, or is that something that you ever mentioned to anybody?
My sister.
Okay.
That's about it.
Is your sister a big support?
Yes.
Okay, that's good. Alright. So, ever served in the military?
No.
No military. Ever been arrested or on probation?
No.
Okay. Alright, so tell me some of your strengths you feel like.
I feel like I pay close attention to detail.
Okay.
So be very detail oriented. I feel like I'm a very caring person.
Mhm. That's it. Okay. I feel like it's always harder to name our strengths,
Yes.
right?
So if you're gonna ask me about my weaknesses, I got a list.
You got a list? Alright, give me the list.
My weakness, one is I care way too much sometimes.
Okay.
I overthink. I can be mean and not really mean it. Like when I'm overthinking or something, I get very overstimulated very easily.
Okay.
So then I just have like an outburst meltdown. But
Okay.
I feel like a lot goes into those. So it may not be a full list.
Yeah, but
there's a lot into
It's
those.
more complex, right?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So, coping strategies for those. What does that look like?
I go for a walk
You go for a
when
walk.
I get overwhelmed. Kind of just talk to myself.
Do you feel like crocheting helps?
No, because I start angry crocheting and I'll mess up.
Oh,
You gotta really concentrate.
really?
Yeah.
Okay, I know nothing about crocheting.
Yeah, so I usually just like walk, talk to myself, I'll pray,
Okay.
do something
right.
like that.
Good. Are there any barriers to treatment you would feel like? Or any barriers stopping you from progressing?
I don't know, I feel like I just don't see a positive side. Like I struggle with, I just think I'm never gonna get better, so like what's the point of trying? That's kind of like how I see therapy sometimes. Like I'll open up and then I'll have one bad day, oh, it's not working, so I'm just gonna quit. So I'm not very positive when it comes to overcoming these certain things, I guess.
See, I think consistency is key,
And I struggle with that.
right?
Because I want it done right then and there.
That instant gratification.
Yeah, so now I don't know if that's just like, if that's even OCD, like I don't even know.
I think we all want instant gratification,
Yeah.
right? We want
I don't
what we want
what we-
when we want it, and we want it now,
Yeah.
right? So, that's sometimes hard to deal with,
Yes.
being patient and consistent and allowing the help to help you, right?
Yeah.
And being open to it, which I feel like you are open to the help, or you wouldn't be sitting here today, right? Alright, so that's all the questions that I have for you. Are there any questions that you have for me, or anything that you want to go back to?
I don't think so.
No? Okay.
I feel like I told you a lot already.
Yeah. Alright. So, before we wrap up, I know you mentioned you were working at Gambling and you had some problems there. Have you ever had any other jobs before that?
Yeah, I was a customer service rep at an oil company. It's called Griffith Energy.
Griffiths?
Yeah. And I worked in the office for a couple years and then I actually worked from home for a year. So I was there like 3 years total.
Okay. And why did you leave that job?
Honestly, it was just really hard. It was very mentally draining.
What was it?
People are not the nicest when they're ordering their oil, or it's also when COVID happened, so like the oil prices were really high and you get screamed at by the woman. So it was a very toxic job just because of the customers itself, not for me.
Sounds like it, okay.
Yeah.
Right, like you just couldn't handle the rude customer.
Yeah, it was really bad.
Probably
And I'm
very often.
a very sensitive person, so just did not work out.
And one more job, let me get something else before you work at Griffith.
I was a salesperson at a pool company, Clark Swimming Pools in Seaford, Delaware.
Clark, what was it called?
Clark's Pools.
Clark's Pools.
Mm-hmm.
And what did you do there?
I was a salesperson.
Salesperson? How long did you work at Clark's?
For half a year.
Half a year. And what made you leave that job?
It was very, very toxic.
Was
it's
it?
a family-owned company. It was just a bunch of drama with everyone there. I got involved with one of the other employees and it just did not work out, and
yeah, it seems like it would be awkward.
it was very awkward, uncomfortable, and yes, okay. I had to leave there.
So his family operated, got involved with somebody in there. Now, I know I asked you about some of substances, and I know you mentioned you experienced with cannabis and hallucinogens a few times. Now, you never abused your benzos, I know. You had mentioned.
Yeah.
But there were some times where you took more than prescribed because you felt as though you needed it.
And that was because I was in a very toxic relationship before the one that I'm currently in.
Okay.
It was really bad, which is the reason I was on acid and did the shrooms and stuff. Like, he was the one that introduced me to all of that. And he made my anxiety so bad to the point I felt like I could not function. So I was smoking weed every day. And then I was taking the Xanax, and I just felt like I kept needing it because I was always so amped up because of him.
Okay. Now, was that relationship, I know you said it was toxic, but was it abusive at all in any
He
way?
was emotionally abusive,
Emotionally
and
abusive.
he kept cheating on me.
Alright. And then, what about any, nicotine use?
Yeah, I vaped since I was like in 8th grade. I just quit a year ago.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you.
I know that's very hard to do.
It's very hard. That could probably be one of the reasons why my anxiety is always like, because I used it as like a coping method.
Right, yeah. I think, I feel like nicotine is, one of the hardest things to overcome, right? So,
yes.
Congrats to you for doing that. It's been over a year, you said?
Yes.
Good. Alright. Okay. I think that's all I have for you. So, let's go to our next session while you're here today. How about, does Wednesdays work for you?
Yeah.
Wednesdays? And what time of day works best?
Morning.
Morning? Next Wednesday I have a 9:30 or a 10:30.
9:30.
9:30. Okay. Alright, well, it was very nice meeting you.
Thanks, it was nice meeting you.
And thank you for all that information, and I look forward to meeting you next week.
Alright, sounds good. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.